Hey everybody, welcome to Saving Greens Homestead. My name is Keisha, and if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I welcome you. I hope that you have had a great holiday last week for Thanksgiving. I know that we did. It was just a lot of get-togethers and eating, but I wanted to bring you guys out here and show you some of the things that is going on in my garden right now, because we have had some good substantial cold fronts come through, and 2 nights ago we were in the 20s, mid-20s, and I just wanted to show you what's going on with my garden here, especially with these summer crops that I still have. And I'm looking at this plant because I told you guys I was going to trim off the bottom of it, and I did. And I trimmed off around on the bottom so I'd be able to see what's all in here and what's growing. And I found a number of really good sized tomatoes growing in here. And then look, I found these two big old huge. These things are huge. Tomatoes that are growing, and so I left those on there, but I did a lot of trimming, and as you can see, I trimmed a lot of the stuff off. And then when we had the cold, then the cold made all these leaves turn black, and that's what the cold does. When we get frost, it starts turning leaves black like this. This plant, although it's been frost kissed, and we've been consistently every night having, we're down in the 30s, the low 30s, low to mid 30s. We've been, it's still doing good. Like I said before, they're starting to get a lot of disease, as you can see, but it's hanging in there even with some of the frost damage. It's hanging in there. I don't know for how long it will hang in, but I am going to try and let it stay to see how long I can keep them going. And I'm not covering any of this. None of this is getting covered. And I also wanted to show you like these other tomatoes and stuff that I have going. This poor little plant has had it. The cold has got to it. It's not completely gone. As you can see, there's still some green, but all the rest of it, the cold got a hold of it. And I just want these to mature so I can harvest them. They're heart-shaped. All of them are heart-shaped and it's cute. I still have peppers. And my pepper plants have all these flowers on them. But you can see where they're succumbing to the cold. Because as it gets colder and stays consistently cold at night, then these plants are going to suffer more and more. But I did want to just give you a look. Now this cherry, this gooseberry, Hartman's gooseberry cherry plant is starting to get disease. You can see that on the leaves. And even though it's still full of fruit, the tree is dying off. So you can see that in here. So what's gonna probably end up happening is I am gonna try and get all of this harvested off of here. And then I will work on taking this plant out. And it's a lot to harvest off of here, but I think it's done its job. And I've harvested so much off of this plant from the start. And I'm gonna show you on the other side, but there's still a lot of green ones here. My mimosa tree here. These are all the little seeds I'm gonna take off of here before they fall off, like how these did. And then they'll be harder to see and harder to collect, but I'm gonna get all of these. But most of the leaves are falling off of here as well for the winter. This plant has grown so much since the time we first got here, and it was just a little itty bitty thing, and over the course of 6 years it's grown into this. And I've cut it back a lot. And it's still really big, so I'm guessing in the next year or two it's gonna completely be a shade tree for me, because it'll be grown over the top of everything else that's out here. And that's fine, because it's a pretty plant, pretty tree, and I love it. Look at Tiger over there investigating something. What you see? What you see over there, kitty? But I brought you on this side so I can show you. I still have tomatoes down here. And look, I just discovered these. As I'm showing you that, I just discovered these right here. And they're all good because they're covered by this grass. I think the grass is helping to insulate. But I'm gonna have to get out here and harvest all of these up. But there's a lot of them still. And the plant itself has suffered. Oh look, there's a flower. Still has flowers, but it suffered from the frost. I just want to show you guys all of these green tomatoes still here on this plant. So once I get this stuff all harvested, there's going to be plenty more on there to mature. I just wanted to show you the backside of this plant. Now the plant started growing on the other side of this trellis, and then it just cascaded and topped over onto this side and continued its growth. Look at, and it's reaching all the way into the grass area here. That's a long plant. That almost reached this other pomegranate tree that I have here. That is a long plant. And then on here, I was waiting for this little cucamelon to grow because I've been wanting to try it. I don't know if it's ready or not, but even the vines for it is starting to succumb to this cold that we have. And even though these pepper plants are still putting out flowers, everything in here is just dying because it's just cold right now. It's just really cold. So it's only a matter of time before all of this stuff is no longer really viable. As you can see, this tomato plant, which was really nice and full and fluffy, if you remember, I took the branches off of this to dry for herb seasoning and stuff. In a previous video, well, the cold has gotten a hold of this one. And so, although there are plenty of more tomatoes on here, I don't think that they're going to ripen all that great. But I'm willing to wait and be patient and see what happens. As long as the plant is still green and not all black, then I'll wait and see. And what I mean by all black, look at this. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean when I say all black, because the leaves start to turn black and they die back because of the frost. So, but if you look at this tomato is starting to mature. It's ripening. I'm happy. And there's plenty more of those tomatoes down here. I was just waiting for them to start ripening. This plant has put on so much production for me. And as you can see, there's just red spots all through here. Just red little juicy, good tasting little morsels on this plant. This was Mexico Midget. I will definitely grow this one again because it really produces a lot. And they taste good too. They taste really good. Which brings us to this one. At first glance, this one looks really good. It's nice and green still. I don't know, it seems like it has some really good parts, but then when you look at it closer, you can see some of the damage on the leaves where they're turning purple from the frost and disease that's starting to set in. But for the most part, this plant looks great, and it has a lot of fruit on it still, and it just keeps producing and keeps producing. And on top of that, there's all these new flowers set on here, which shows that it would continue to produce if the weather would allow it. This plant has suffered a lot too because of the cold. There's still some green, and there's a lot of it that turned purple because of the frost. So I'm gonna have to harvest all of these tomatoes off of here eventually. Like I said, I'm gonna let them stay as long as possible. And this one has a lot that are ready. And you can tell because they're turning red. You can see all the red parts of it. So I am gonna come through and start getting these picked. But as you can see, this side back here is not bad either. There's a lot of growth still on that Berry's Crazy Cherry, this yellow one here. There's so much fruit and growth and new growth and flowers still on this plant, even with the cold. I wanted to bring you in closer so you could see these. Look at that, you guys. I think those are sweetie tomatoes. I'm looking and I'm like, wait a minute, those don't look like prairie fire, which are these guys right here, because you see the difference already. They're elongated, and they're definitely not the yellow from the Berries Crazy. These are little round red. And so yeah, that's a sweetie that I planted in the middle here, in between these two plants that I thought didn't grow, and I guess it did. It put on some fruit, so I get to try that one for the first time. So I'm excited about that. I wanted to show you guys these prairie fire. There's a lot of them that are ready that I'm gonna have to get in there and get and harvest. So look at that. So I'm gonna work on that. But yeah, these plants are doing pretty good still and producing. And this plant over here, there's still some green, but it's mostly diseased. It has tomatoes on it here that I've been waiting on to be able to harvest them. There's a big one back there. But I don't know, I'm gonna have to just keep waiting, I guess. While the plants are still green, I'm gonna leave them. Here's a good example of when the plant get diseased and what it does to the fruit. So I didn't get out here and pick these fast enough. But what you see is what you can see are the leaves are all diseased and shriveling up. And then when you go down and you look at the fruit, you can see where the disease took over that fruit. And so those are ruined. They're not good for eating. They're supposed to look like this here, but they're not. While I'm over here, I'll show you guys this orange. As you saw in the opening part of the video, my orange is turning orange. My one orange is turning orange. And then my lemons are turning yellow. I'm gonna have to repot this tree and give it a good fertilizing and up pot it so that it can rebound. And it's probably over this winter, it's probably gonna drop all of its leaves the rest of the way and hopefully come back in the spring. It usually comes back in the spring, but it's been bare like this all summer. So I don't know. Over here is still a lot of green, which is good because I still have a lot of big tomatoes on this plant that I'm waiting for them to ripen, and it's gonna take them a little while to do it, but I'm hoping that this plant will last long enough for that to happen. This one already is succumbing. This one is the sun sugar, and there's some ripe ones on here right now. But the rest of the plant is dying off quickly. There's still some green right here, but all of this part down in here that fell over, it's not doing great. Like I said, I'll leave it until it's not green anymore. And then I'll just take all those tomatoes, whatever tomatoes is left on there, off. Now this one, he does still have some green parts. After tonight, I don't know. It's gonna be cold again, another cold, cold night. So the tomatoes that were on this one that was forming, they're still really little. There's no hope for them. So this guy, I'm not really worried about this plant. He's pretty much done for the season. But my volunteers over here, they're still doing pretty good. I can see some ripe tomatoes over there up against the fence. A little bit of disease happening there. But these other parts here are really good still. So I'm not going to be too quick to take it out. I'm going to harvest those tomatoes off of there. And I'm looking because I don't know what tomato plant this one is from. I think this one is, these are from this red Russian plant. Purple Russian, I'm sorry. And that part of the plant looks really healthy and good still. This marigold finally opened up. It's just a little splash of color, I guess. He didn't do so great. There's some other little buds on there, but I don't know. I think it's just gonna be too cold. Maybe it looks good for it to have gone through this cold snap that we've had. But look at him. But at least he made an appearance. I'm happy for that. Give my little garden here a little color. I have more volunteer tomatoes on that other plant right here. I'm gonna take them out, but this plant is worse off than the other one. This one, the disease pretty much got a hold of it completely. And so I think this one is pretty much done for. So I'm gonna take him out. Okay, so it's starting to get dark, but I wanted to come out here and just show you what's going on with this garden with the cold temperatures that's been happening, and keep you current on what's going on. Eventually all of this is going to come out, and I don't know if I'll show the process of that or not, but I'm just trying to soak it in and enjoy it while I can, while I still have it here, and while it's still producing. So I guess that's gonna do it for this video, and I am gonna go inside and warm up because my fingers are numb because of the cold. And I will see you guys in the next video. The next video is probably gonna be a harvest video, where we harvest all of everything that we can that's out here. And I will show you how much we get from that harvest. So thank you for watching this video, and as always, God bless. Look at him, he's trying to ambush me. Watch what he does. He already picked like which side he's gonna try and come out at. Look at him. He's in there looking at me too. I'm telling you guys, he's always ambushing me, and you'll hear what he does. I can never get it on video. Look, he finally sprung his trap and came out. But I always miss it. I always miss it. So anyways, hey baby, you gonna come over? You gotta stretch first. You gonna come over? Look at that baby. A kitty. A kitty. It's my sweetheart.